and he has picked an absolute gem in Paul Ryan to help him govern this nation. So ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge Chester County welcome to a terrific guy who's going to make a terrific vice president, Paul Ryan.
Chester County, man. Great. Oh, I love you too. Two Sikorsky's right on the side here. Look at this. Man, it's, what a welcome. I tell you what, Charlie Dent, Jim Gerlach, they're two of my workout buddies in the morning. They do more than that, though, by the way. They are very good, dedicated public servants, and you are blessed to have that kind of strong representation here in Chester County. Jim and Charlie, thanks for your service, guys. You know, it's great to be here at the Helicopter Museum, and I hear you guys make some pretty good helicopters in this area. You know, there's one thing that we need to address, and that is that President Obama's reckless defense cuts that are hanging over our cloud, hanging over the horizon, could put almost 44,000 jobs at stake right here in Pennsylvania. We're not going to let that happen. You know why? Because number one, national defense is the first priority of the federal government. Number two, because of leaders like Jim Gerlach and Charlie Dent. We already passed spending cuts and other wasteful parts of government to replace those irresponsible and devastating cuts that the president, through his lack of leadership, is promising will occur. You see, here's what happened. When these budget negotiations went down the pike, the president insisted that these irresponsible defense cuts be a part of this package. Then he insisted, if you want to undo them, we need $1 trillion tax increase on successful small businesses. So it's either lose defense-related jobs in Pennsylvania or put small businesses further in a competitive disadvantage to competing in the global economy and lose small business jobs. I got a good idea. Why don't we take away President Obama's job and create jobs for everybody and make money this thing already? That's a good stimulus plan. Okay. So he's not a fan of the president's either, apparently. So, what will happen if these defense cuts take place? According they weren't fans of the president's either. Friends, let me put it this way. We have a very clear choice to make. We have a very clear choice to make in this country. Can we stick with the president's plan? Do we want to stick on the path the president has put us on, a country in debt, a country in doubt, a country in decline? With the right leadership, we can get this country, this economy, and the American idea back on track. Here's what's wrong with Washington. Too many politicians, like President Obama, have put their own re-election ahead of the next generation. That's wrong. And we will not do that. We will lead. What we want to do is earn your support. We want to deserve victory, so that together we get a mandate to get this country back on track, to reassert our founding principles, and to get people back to work. That's what it's all about. You're going to hear a lot from President Obama and, yes, from Joe Biden. You're hearing a little bit about Medicare these days. What they will not tell you is that they turned Medicare into a piggy bank to fund Obamacare. They took $716 billion from Medicare to pay for their Obamacare program. In Pennsylvania, 38% of Pennsylvania seniors chose to get their Medicare from a plan called Medicare Advantage. It's their choice. 47% of them are going to lose it under Obamacare, according to Medicare, by 2017. That's a $3,600 cut in their benefits. So when it comes to who's protecting Medicare, who's being candid with our current seniors, and who is saying stop the raid on Medicare, that's what Mitt Romney and I are proposing. And the next time you hear about President Obama, tell him to keep your hands on his Medicare. Take a look at your payroll taxes. Those are supposed to go to two programs, Social Security and Medicare. And now because of the president, they're being siphoned off to partially pay for Obamacare too, and we're going to stop that from happening. We're not just going to talk about how the other guys have failed. We're not just going to talk about the miserable record of failed leadership by President Obama. We're going to offer you solutions. We're going to come together with ideas that get this economy growing and get us back on track. Let me give you 5 right now. Of all places, Pennsylvania, Marcellus Shale. We have energy in this country. Let's use the energy in this country. All of it. Coal, shale, oil, gas, nuclear, renewables, all of the above. That creates jobs. That's one idea that gets people off the unemployment line and into good paying jobs like working on the Keystone Pipeline. And we've seen how people are hurting. We have seen how big manufacturers have left our towns. That's the experience in my hometown of Janesville, Wisconsin. So when people have this happen to them, we need to have a system, good educational skills, job training benefits, to help them get the skills they need to get back on their feet and get back into a career in the 21st century. That is incredibly crucial to getting people back to work and back on their feet so they can realize their vision of the American dream. We also need to make more things in America. We need to grow more things in America. And that means we need to have trade that works for America, so that we hold those countries that are not playing fairly with us to account. China comes to mind. But let's make sure that we get agreements that work for us so we can make more things and sell them overseas and create good jobs here. Another area that is putting a huge drag on our economy, something that I spent a lot of my time working on, and it's a really simple proposal. We got to stop spending money we just don't have. We have to stop spending. We've got to get this budget deficit under control, this debt under control. Not only is this debt crisis looming on our horizon, not only is our future on the current path one just like Europe is happening, it affects our jobs today, but it gives our children, without a shadow of a doubt, a diminished future, a lower standard of living. You know, my dad used to always tell me, in this country, every generation fixes its problems so that its kids are better off. It's our duty to save the American dream for our children and their children. You know, you take a look at some of the things the president's been saying over the years, and occasionally he drops his guard. He sort of lowers the veil, and we sort of see what's going on in his mind. We see the philosophy of government that he has. You remember Joe the plumber? And so this was about 4 years ago. He said we need to spread the wealth around. It's this belief that the economy is a fixed pie, that there's just only so much money, and that it's the government's job to redistribute the slices as the government sees fit. That's not how the free economy works. That's not free enterprise. Our job is to grow the pie so everybody can get a bigger slice of the pie. That's what growth and opportunity and upward mobility are all about. You remember that one where he said, people in places like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, we cling to our guns and our religion. Hey, as a Catholic deer hunter, guilty as charged. That's what freedom is. But the last one takes the cake. The last one's the doozy, because it reveals this idea of a government-centered society, of an economy driven by government. It reveals this idea that we need to tax more money from families and small businesses, take that money to Washington, and then spread it around to your cronies. Somebody over here mentioned Solyndra. Perfect example. Look, Republicans have been guilty of this in the past as well. Let's not forget that both political parties touched this idea of getting Washington to pick winners and losers in the economy. That's not government's job. That's the job of entrepreneurs. That's the job of risk takers. That's the job of hard workers. That's the job of businesses. That's what free enterprise is all about. So, when the president said, if you have a small business, you did not build that, it reveals a mindset. That business is not the product of a person's labor, of their risk, of their hard work, of their risk-taking. That is somehow the success of government. Now, government's important, don't get me wrong. Government's necessary. But it's not the nucleus of our economy, of our society. We, the people, are. And so, at a time like this, when so much is at stake, when this election is a clear choice of two visions, of two governing philosophies, of two different futures, this, of all times, is when you need a leader to get this right. I want to tell you about Mitt Romney. I want to tell you about this man. Because what moments like this need are men who are statesmen, leaders. 4 things that makes a great leader, according to basically the history books. A person with a bedrock of principles. A person with a moral compass. A person with a vision for the country and the ability to execute that vision, to put it in place. That's the Mitt Romney story. That's who this man is. That's what his life's been all about. Rarely have I seen a moment in history where the man and the moment meet so perfectly. Remember the Olympics in 1999 over in Salt Lake. Remember all those horrible stories about the corruption, the wasteful spending, the bloat? Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? What did they do? They called the guy in Boston, Mitt Romney, asked him to drop his life and come and save the Olympics and turn it around, and that's exactly what he did, and he made us proud. look at his story of success in business. And by the way, being successful in business, that's a good thing in America. We should take pride in that. We don't resent other people's success. We want to emulate other people's success. That's the American dream. This man started businesses. This man grew businesses. Sports Authority, Bright Horizons, Staples. This man created tens of thousands of jobs. He turned around struggling businesses. This is a man who knows exactly what all this regulating does to kill jobs, what all these taxes, what the lack of an energy policy does. Mitt Romney has the experience to know with a fact that if you have a small business, you did build that. It's coming down to a key moment. It's about jobs, it's about the economy, it's about our grandkids and our kids, but it's bigger than that. It's a generation-defining moment. It's not just who's going to be the president for the next 4 years. It's what kind of country are we going to have? What kind of people are we going to be? And so when we're selecting a leader going forward, let's look at the track records. What a clear contrast. Under President Obama's failed leadership, the United States credit rating was downgraded for the first time in our history. When Mitt Romney was governor, he increased the credit rating of his state. President Obama said he'd lower unemployment to below 8%. It's been above 8% for 42 months. When Mitt Romney was governor, he lowered the unemployment rate. For the last 4 years in this country, family household income has gone down by over $4,000. When Mitt was governor, it went up by $5,000 in his home state. That's a track record of experience in leadership. But as I mentioned, it's much bigger than that. It comes down to what is the idea of this country? Is the goal and role of this country to be what it traditionally has been? To protect our natural rights? To promote equal opportunities so we can make the most of our lives? Or is it now to get these new government-granted rights? To have government equalize the results of our lives? America is not just Westchester, Pennsylvania. America is not just Janesville, Wisconsin. America is not just New York or Maine or Massachusetts or California. America is an idea. It's the only country founded on an idea. And our founders said it so beautifully. Our rights, they come from nature and God, not from government. Our founders did this, they secured it, and our veterans preserved it, and we thank those veterans for doing that for us, each and every generation. We understand the moment we are in. We understand the task that we have. Here is the commitment that Mitt and I are making to you. We will not duck the tough issues, and we will not kick the can. We will lead. And we will not blame others. We will take responsibility and accountability. Thank you. My kids do too. We will not try to transform this country into something it was never intended to be. We will not replace our founding principles. We will reapply our founding principles. We know who we are. We know what we need to do. And please, if you hear anything, hear this. We can do this. We can turn this around. We can get this economy going back. We can get people back to work. We can have higher take-home pay. And we can preserve the American idea for our generation and our children's generation. Together, we're going to get this done. Thank you. Thank you. And God bless all of you, my fellow citizens. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. Thanks.
What's your name?
Ellen Wetherill,
Okay, where are you from?
Exton, Pennsylvania.
Okay. And so when Paul Ryan entered the race, what did that do for you? What did you see in his candidacy that added something to the ticket?
Paul Ryan knows the economics of the situation. He knows the Medicare and Social Security issues inside out and upside down. And I trust Paul Ryan to do away with IPAB. Ask any senior. We should know what that means. And I wanted him to run for president, and I'm really glad he's running for vice president.
Are you going to be working on the campaign?
Yes, we already are.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Tara Rafferty,
And where are you from?
West Grove, Pennsylvania.
Okay. And when did you start to pay attention to this campaign?
From day one, I've always paid attention.
Is politics kind of in your blood?
Yes, I was a political science major at Newman College.
And how about numbers of generations of that sort of interest? Are you of a long line?
Yes, very long line of Republicans.
Okay. Now, during the primary process, who did you find yourself favoring even before the contest came to Pennsylvania?
I did like a lot of what Newt Gingrich had to say, but I've always liked Romney.
Okay. And how would you describe the dynamic, how the dynamic may have changed for you when Romney came aboard, when Ryan came aboard?
I think it definitely electrified a lot of people. I think people are very impressed with the way he speaks, the way he shuts down what Obama has to say, and the way he speaks the truth.
And are there ways in which you think he specifically complements the top of the ticket?
Yes, I definitely think his budgets and healthcare alone. I mean, there's a clip on YouTube that you can go on where he's talking about healthcare, and nobody in the room can kind of debunk anything because he really looks at the numbers and he's very factual, and statistically, I think he can run circles around people and be successful.
And what kind of sense, if you have any yet, of the support or lack of it in West Grove for the Romney-Ryan ticket?
It's getting there. We just need to get some signs out and get people. Hopefully, they will have events closer down to southern Chester County. I think that's important. A lot of people came from very far away. I think they need to kind of do a little bit more because I think you're going to see bigger crowds if they kind of hit in certain areas.
Who are you, sir?
I'm Bob Wicks. I'm a local committee man from London Britton Township, the southernmost township and the easternmost township in Pennsylvania.
Now, there are some that say the administration is delighted to have the focus on some of these so-called third-rail issues, health care, debt and deficit, Medicare, Social Security, and it seems like the Romney-Ryan campaign are embracing it to finally have a conversation about it. What's your feeling about that?
That's fine. That is what the Obama administration, these third-rail issues, as you described them, Medicare and so on, are what the Obama administration is slowly working its way down to eliminating in America and causing us less freedom and to become just government yay-sayers instead of independent thinkers. And so I think that we need to have an active and vigorous and informed and revealing dialogue about these things.
So what's your name?
My name is Pat Helfrich Coleman.
And where do you live?
We live in Westchester and Purchase Mill.
And is this your first political event for the season?
For this season, yes.
So what did you think when Paul Ryan was picked by Mitt Romney?
We were so excited.
What do you like about it?
He's young, he's vibrant, he's smart, he's going to be able to be a vice president if he needs to be. He's got all of our
Are you going to work in the campaign?
We're going to try to find a way to do that in different areas, yes, for sure. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Now hold on, 'cause I ain't done.